So Nick, I want to talk to you a little bit more about business side now. Tell me, what was the first business that you got into and how did you get that started?
Age 14, I was actually at music school, and I was basically I was teaching guitar. And by age 15, the music business had developed itself, and I employed 5 other music teachers. And pretty much at that particular point, I'd actually discovered the principles of leverage. So we'll charge him $25 an hour. I'll pay $15 to the other music teachers and $10 back to the house. And by age 17, we probably had about 60, 70 pupils on a weekly basis, and I sold that business. And with $30,000 US, I moved to the United States at 17 to pursue music and take it to the next level, because I went as far as I could musically in Australia, and I knew there was just so much more out there, and hence the move to the US, which basically, in retrospect, was probably the greatest thing I've ever done in regards to like raising the ante and removing myself from that comfort zone, from a degree of complacency. Although the music business was doing really good, there was so much more out there,
Yeah.
and I did discover that.
So surely you must have come across, even at the age of 14, because that's an incredible age to try and even do anything, but surely you must have come across a bunch of failures. And how at the age of 14 to 17 did you sort of say, because you're still a kid at that point,
Yeah.
how did you come across and say, well, I'm not going to allow that to hold me back? And more to the point, how did you then turn those failures into positives?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the stuff I may have stumbled upon it by accident, kind of thing, and it was just a real learning curve. I mean, there was nobody that really sat me down and said, this is how you operate a business, kind of thing. I mean, I remember at a very young age, I was always a very, very disciplined saver. And I was always looking for new opportunities. And after my I guess my medical problems or what have you, I turned to guitar, and guitar became a very big part of my life, and I became very, very good at it. But I also looked at, I'm charging $25 an hour here, but I mean, how can I leverage my own individual speaking and teaching, I guess. So that's when I basically started to employ other teachers, I guess. But for me, were there obstacles, were there hurdles along the way? Absolutely, kind of thing. I mean, I had to go up against my parents because my parents wanted me to pursue a degree or become a lawyer or something, kind of thing. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. I mean, my older brother was studying medicine, my older sister was studying law, and my other sister was studying psychology. And here I am in my early teens. I'm growing my hair, and I was going to school pretty much up until the point before I hit university, kind of thing. And I did it pretty much just to please my parents. But for me, ultimately, my dream, my destiny was elsewhere. And I bought that one-way ticket to Los Angeles. In fact, I arrived in Hollywood, and with that $30,000 cash in my pocket to forge a whole new life, a whole new career, what have you. But I had to go up against everything that was basically instilled in me from a young child, in regards to schooling, get a degree, get a good job,
Yeah.
And I went out there, I sold my business, and I had no idea what the outcome was going to be, but it was going to be a lot greater than what it was back home in Australia. And sometimes you mature, you expedite the maturity level when you do travel.
Right, absolutely.
Because you're less reliant on everybody else, and you start to take accountability in regards to who you are, what you're going to do, and what your legacy is going to be.
Absolutely. I mean, accountability is such a massive factor. So many people wanting to pass the blame on to
Absolutely,
others.
yeah. Because it's easy to blame something, And I say to anybody, it's like, probably the greatest thing is to be unemployed, because when you're unemployed, it makes you think. The universe is releasing you to find something greater in life.
Absolutely.
As opposed to being reliant on somebody else. Because the moment you put your partner, you're disempowering yourself, aren't you? Because you're relying on somebody else to pay you. They're reliant on the greater economy, and then you have this spiraling effect kind of thing. And the thing is, nobody has your interest at heart.
Absolutely.
No one cares about you more so than yourself.
Yeah.
So what I say to people is like, we were talking about it some time ago. It's like, define your passion, monetize it, because you're doing it on your terms. You're scripting the screenplay, you're drafting, you're the producer, you're the director, you are everything, you are the actor in it.
Yeah.
How can it not go?
Yeah. And the other thing as well is that I tend to find that so many businesses forget about their customers, and without the customers, none of us would be anything.
Yeah.
So tell me, give me your feeling on how you approach, or how you view your customers and how important they are to you.
Well, your customers is your lifeline. I mean, with customers, with clients, it should be a courtship. You need to massage your clients. You need to appease them. You know, you need to do whatever it takes to keep them for the life cycle of that client, because lead acquisition is quite expensive. You know, but what we've done with our businesses is we've actually we've incorporated a mosaic of different services to basically which entails different many other companies, what have you, in order to provide that service to our client.
Right.
Because I don't want any slippage in regards to our client using this company for this or that company for that. I would rather basically, have the main company, the mothership, and have your tentacles of different organisations that you basically created now, and your client is basically within the entire, amongst the entire broaderage of the entire company.
Almost like you're taking them from birth to death.
Absolutely.
You're just
it's
protecting them and looking after them.
Exactly, And when 40% of your business is it's word of mouth, then you're doing something right too.
So what do you think that most people in business get wrong?
Their prices are way too low. Probably the best thing you should do is raise your prices, raise your standards. When you raise the standards, guess what? People will pay for a greater service, right? And if at all times you're a solution provider to their problems, well, guess what? People will pay for the remedy. People will pay for a solution. Right?
And what you just said there is so true. You have to provide solutions to people's problems, and so many people go into businesses for their own selfish needs.
Absolutely.
Rather than trying to solve other people's problems.
Yeah, be a solution provider for everybody, and all your companies, every company in your line should basically provide a service to your client, and that courtship, providing incentives, freebies, giveaways, providing them content. As opposed to just selling a product type business kind of thing, well, provide content in regards to what their hobbies are, sending birthday cards. When you have a client, guess what? It's a courtship to find out what day and what year they were born. Send them a birthday card. Not something that's been prefabricated, something that is written.
Handwritten. To show that you really care.
An envelope with a stamp, as opposed to like a frank. You know what I mean? So with a stamp, it's a personal touch because it means that you actually care.
Yeah. And don't put them in a white envelope either.
No,
people are so used to seeing white envelopes. White envelopes usually mean bills.
Exactly. Just take that. Just that due diligence, that extra care, because when you look at it, it's going to pay yourself exponentially.
So looking at our members now, what 3 things would you recommend to these people that they should implement in their business immediately?
Raise your prices.
Okay.
Create a database.
Okay.
A database will basically, which is like a management system, which provide their birth dates, their hobbies, what they earn, how often do they go on holidays and what have you. But just like probably about 5 or 7 drop-down menus in regards to the demographic of that particular client.
Okay.
Okay. So raise your prices, have a database, and provide content. Provide content to them on a daily, if not weekly basis, whatever.
Okay. Always keep that communication going.
Absolutely. Because if you're constantly involved in their life outside what you're particularly offering in regards to your product or services, then what you're doing is providing content in regards to what their dream or what their hobby is or what their associated travel item may be if they want to go traveling or something,
Yeah.
depending on what the business is. But what I'm saying is be in their face at all times, because they're more likely to do business with you on a continuous basis.
Yeah. So many people, we talk about this 80-20 rule, and so many people forget about that 80% of your profits come from your top 20% people.
At all times.
And everybody is constantly trying to find that new customer coming in all the time, as opposed to manicuring and looking after.
Massage them and drill
Absolutely.
deeper and deeper and deeper. When I say drill deeper, become greater friends.
Absolutely.
Because then what happens is they feel obligated because they want to do business with you.
Yeah.
Why?
They would
Because
rather
it's the
give
right
you the
thing.
money than somebody else.
Absolutely, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And that's how you avoid slippage in your business, because you know what? Whether they're buying this product or services, it's still within your company's what have you.
So, let me ask you this question. It's one of my favorite questions. You go to a dinner party. You're allowed to invite 3 people, dead or alive. Who would you choose and why would you choose them?
Okay, wonderful. Well, one of them is actually an animated cartoon hero.
Okay.
Now, let's say we were if we were to metamorphosize him, well, that animated character hero will be Tintin.
Okay.
Now, Tintin was that boy-old hero. He was a reporter, and all these crazy and wacky adventures right across the globe. This globe-trotting lifestyle, and he had a young companion called Snowy.
Yeah.
So and that kind of like
Remember
fits my
Tintin
lifestyle.
very well.
So for my life, it's always been those Tintin deja vu moments, I guess. I would say Tintin. I would say, well, it's an interesting one. I would say Napoleon Hill.
Okay.
Which is pretty much on everybody else's radar too, and because he was for what he did back then, for that particular thinking, I guess, back in the 1920s, and all that amount of like crazy research. I mean, that book was such a pinnacle point for a lot of people's lives. So.
And what book is that, Nick?
Think and Grow Rich, absolutely, definitely. And mind you, along the same road, there was like some great books by Dale Carnegie too, which I'm sure you're aware of too.
Absolutely.
But I would say Napoleon Hill, Tintin, and I would say Yuri Gagarin.
Okay.
I mean, because of the cool factor,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, this dude was the first human to like represent humanity, So I think that's a pretty cool attribute in life, saying I was the first human to represent humanity, So I would say Tintin, Napoleon Hill, and Yuri Gagarin.
And the last question, why do you believe you were put on this earth?
To emotionally inspire individuals.
How many individuals?
There's no ceiling on it, I mean, it's really, it's, to me, it's, I would affect as many individuals as possible. Because, through personal development, through financial empowerment or whatever, there are so many factors out there. And if you think about it, the average person out there has no self-esteem, no belief system, and has been absolutely not even furnished with any financial strategies.
Yeah.
And they're guaranteed to be part of the system as a what? As a taxpayer. Servicing their lifestyle with after-tax dollars, struggling, heavily entrenched in debt, on the wrong side of capitalism.
And it all starts in school.
Absolutely. That's why the schooling system, as we know right now, it's obsolete.
Yeah.
It will never work. It ain't the teachers, but the teachers are governed by a set curriculum, which has been specifically designed to entrench that individual into the system.
Absolutely.
You
to
know?
keep them down.
To keep them all numb, brain fog, brain astigmatism. And nothing's going to change. The law of diminishing intent, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And nothing will change. So for me, for my role in life, my legacy is to emotionally inspire, somebody to make a difference, somebody to do something, somebody like to be bold and be beautiful, to like just to be incredibly epic and extraordinary.
Yeah.
And that for me, it's emotionally profitable.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Nick. Well, I really appreciate that Nick's been able to, well, first of all, bring me here to this incredible place. I mean, most people aspire to try and become highly successful, but Nick's taken this to a whole new level. But not only is taking it to a whole new level, he's also decided that he wants to truly enjoy the full fruits that life has to offer, and not just allow the finances to sit in the bank and just not increase the benefits in his life. And I know that we've touched on a lot of the same things over and over again.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is that it's always the same things.
Absolutely.
That's what Napoleon Hill spoke about.
It's a very similar theme. But the thing is, in order for you to really truly understand it, you must live it. Confront those obstacles and utilize that foundation of knowledge and wisdom. And and that intersection of the really understanding how the universe operates too. But also, like you're saying, but having that belief system, that confidence, and that self-esteem, and and just really just having forging through and never ever giving up.
Yeah. No, it's been an absolutely incredible past couple of days. I can't begin to tell you what this sky looks like in the night, where there's just no light around you, and
the canopy is like everything is lit up. I mean, you can dissect into all the stars. I mean, the universe is really beautiful, bold and magical.
And sometimes we happen to get caught up in the bullshit of life.
Yeah.
And the bullshit of life has no relevance on our life today, and it certainly has no relevance on our future.
And then, you take a grain of sand, and the average person magnifies it into this. Absolute
so true.
Bullshit.
So true.
You know what I mean? And and then years later, they look back and they go, you know what? I can't believe that got me down. I can't believe I reacted like that. And all it was just a grain of sand, man. You know, when you think about it, you know, like life, I mean, whatever factor, I mean, it is superficial. There is something so grand and so great out there, but yet we don't see past the bullshit. We get too entrenched, you know. We basically become, you know, we become victims, you know, and we buy into that sympathy crap.
Yeah.
And it's the same regurgitation over and over and over again, you know, as opposed to like, you know, altering your inner circle of individuals, your friends, you know, and, you know, be in a place where, you know, wisdom is being transmitted on the highest frequency. And that should be your calling in life. Be with individuals that will guarantee to inspire you.
And what do you do with individuals? What do you do with individuals that try and hold you back? You know, because sometimes they can be the most painful people, because they can be your mum and dad,
and they can be so close to you too, and that could even be your partner.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, at times you need to sit down with them and explain to them. You know, listen, you know, this is my direction. This is what I want to accomplish in my life. You know, and unfortunately, are you with me or against me?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just got to, like, you know, it's that deep emotional contact kind of thing. And sometimes, you know, in a relationship, there could be that robotic, emotional detachment, you know. And unfortunately, a lot of relationships crumble because one partner may grow and the other partner becomes so stagnant. And, you know, and let's face it, even if you're idle in life, as opposed to just progressing, you are still regressing if you're just completely idle. I mean, have you seen coral? You know, I mean, there's a bit of a tropical setting over here, right? There's coral over here. Coral in idle water is all white, it's dead. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the water is not pounding it, there's no pressure.
Right.
Coral is, in its incredible kaleidoscopic vision, in its most colourful state, when the water is pounding, when there's pressure, when there's current. Where there's current, there's kinetic energy. It means there is momentum, you're advancing, you're accomplishing something. So would you rather be like, you know, idle or actually accomplishing something great? Because think about it, you want to inspire the next generation.
Yeah. And that's the whole point, you know. So people run through their life and they have no purpose to their life.
No,
they have no idea what they're doing. And you've got to find that purpose.
They simply live for the day, that's it. You know, and they subscribe to, you know, they subscribe to all the religions in the world, but yet the greatest religion is yourself. You know, and I say to anybody, you know, if you want to find out what your religion is, find out what puts a smile on your face and pay homage to that. So that is you.
So let's talk about goals. I mean, obviously you've had some incredible goals over your life and you've accomplished the majority of them. I know this might sound a stupid question, but how important are goals?
Absolutely paramount. Because, I mean, for example, you know, we've been discussing about this particular island, about purchasing this island and turning into like a really cool boutique resort, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, and I said to you, this is a 2-year goal, a 2-3 year goal.
Yeah.
So for me, my next 2-3 years will be dedicated to, you know, the fruition of this particular goal. Right. So I mean, you know, but you know, you've got to write down the goals. You know, spoken words evaporate. Yeah, but written words are going to leave impressions, aren't they?
Absolutely.
You need to be accountable to your goals, but also enroll other people into your dream. Why? Because they can also hold you accountable to it too.
Absolutely. Because people need that accountability factor.
Exactly.
They run through life and they say, oh, I'm going to do this, and they never do it.
No, they don't.
So if you want to set yourself a real goal, tell as many people as you possibly can.
Enroll them in your dream, and you know what? And just have your closest friends say, you know what, hey, by the way, that goal you want, how's it going?
Yeah.
What are you doing right now in order to like bring you closer to that goal? Mm-hmm. So a lot of it is that accountability factor.
Yeah.
A lot of people just, they have no responsibility whatsoever, you know? They fail to even look after themselves, let alone planning for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years of their life.
They just flutter through life with no...
And the next 5 years will be identical to the previous 5 years of a person's life because nothing changes.
Still be equally as upset, equally as miserable.
Exactly. And that's why I can predict people's lives. I just refer back to the previous 5 years.
So obviously the positivity is a massive factor. And we spoke a second ago about, you know, the negative people in your life. You know, so are you saying that we should cut these negative people out?
I say we need to develop a filtering system.
Okay.
I mean, you drive a car in. Mm-hmm. What does a filter do in your engine?
It keeps my engine clean.
It removes impurities. Mm-hmm. The impurities of life is what? Negativity.
We don't want
How many individuals do not even have a filtering system in regards to the parameters as to who they're inviting in their life. I mean, your life is golden, your life is epic. Why allow somebody else to siphon the life of your dreams, your goals? Why relinquish control of that? That is you. That is what makes you so unique.
Absolutely. It's absolutely incredible. And, you know, it's so difficult at times. You know, we're always brought up, you know, even as kids, believing that life is so difficult. And yet, on the other side, it's so much easier than we all think it is.
It is.
But we get caught up in that daily bullshit all the time.
Because we magnify crap. We magnify like trivial aspects of life, and we magnify them to like boulders, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, and some individual will take, you know, a rock like this and magnify into like a Indiana Jones type boulder, you know?
And they're constantly running away from it all the time.
Away, you know what? Only to find that they turn the next corner, there's another boulder over here.
Yeah.
Why? Because they have manifested this in their lives.
And yet the truth of the matter is we can make a decision like that to change.
Absolutely. We can diffuse any situation in life.
Because it has no relevance on our life. And our whatever has happened in our past, it does not equal our future. We can change our life just in the click of a finger, you know? And it's all up here. Nothing's ever physical, it's up here.
It is.
You know? Anyway, we're going to leave it right there, but it's just been an absolutely incredible few days. It's been a real life-changing experience, you know, when you get stripped back to basics.
Exactly.
And as you can tell, we're not looking particularly great right now.
We're bad. We've got about a 4-day, sporting a 4-day growth.
We're desperate for a shower.
But it's true, when you strip back to basics, you know, you really think about life. You know, you can't help but reflect on your own life and thinking, well, what positive change can I make? How can I be more definitive? And how can I further redefine the business strategies and my business model?
Yeah.
You know, and this morning we circumnavigated the island. I mean, we've done it quite a few times.
Yeah.
And today we talk about redefining business models, didn't we?
Absolutely.
You know, a good friend of ours arrived late last night, and
which is another story
yeah,
altogether.
Hilarious story. But you know, I mean, the whole concept was, you know, looking at business models and redefining in regards to profitability.
Yeah, absolutely.
And adding value, because being a manufacturer that we are, at all times we want to add value to our clients' lives.
Yeah.
Because when you add value to the clients' lives, guess what? By default, you also profit.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many people that go out there constantly looking for the money, you know, digging all the time.
Yeah.
Is there money here? No. Is there money here? You know,
But they failed to pierce the vein, which is going to produce more gold at all times.
That's right. That's
You know?
right. Yeah. And it's right in front of their face all the time.
Absolutely.
All the time. Cool.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thanks, Nick. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, man.
I'm looking forward to the next trip that we go on, man. So
Cool.
we'll leave it there, and it's been a
Thank you,
great
buddy.
time. All the best, everybody. So this is kind of like my Jerry Springer final thought of the day. You know, when you manage to spend time like we've done under the stars, it kind of makes you realize how small you are as an individual in the scheme of things. But yet, as one individual, you have the power to change or influence so many people's lives. And like you saw in the interview that Nick and I have just had, we tend to get caught up all the time in the small things, that bullshit of life. And I believe that bullshit's there to test us. How badly do we really want it? You know, Nick could have given up a bunch of times. But he chose not to. And you have to find it within yourselves to be aware of those things that negatively pull you down and suppress you. Because once you're consciously aware of it, you can make those changes. So many people are subconsciously aware of things and they never are able to change it. It's only when you're consciously aware of something that you can make those changes in your life. You know, and there's nothing different between you and somebody like Nick or anybody else that you want to use to look up to or pull inspiration from. It's all about mindset. Always has been, always will be. You know, Napoleon Hill spoke about it, 90 years ago. You know, this is what it's all about. It's about helping people. It's about making a difference in people's lives. Because when you make a difference in people's lives, not only can you leave yourself a legacy, but you can actually go ahead and enjoy just an absolutely, truly abundant life. And that's what it's all about. You know, we get one life, so live it and live it as best as you possibly can.